Welcome, and my name's Kevin Hill here with CarrierSource. We have one of our great clients here with us today. It's Mike Bush from Talon Logistics. Mike, how are you doing today?
Kevin, I'm delighted to be joining you today, man.
Perfect. And a little bit of background. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Talon.
Yeah, so I've been in the freight space for roughly 20 years. I got my start. I was accidentally a truck driver right out of college. I drove a reefer box truck up and down the East Coast, running a sampling campaign for an ice cream company. Shortly thereafter, went to work at a PR firm, and my first boss there said, "Oh my God, you speak trucker," which was the equivalent to "I curse too much." But I can also say things like "I slept in my cab." So that was 2003, 2004, built a logistics practice at that company, and I've been in the space kind of ever since. Typically in sales and marketing, sometimes in operations, sometimes in-house, sometimes, working in an agency or a marketing firm where I carried a few clients in the space. So if you want to talk about blockchain's use in supply chain, if you want to talk about big data, AI, or realistically, miles per gallon, I could probably help you out on all of those.
Well, let's talk about some data. Let's talk
Sure.
about shipper intent data and kind of what that is and how you guys use it over at Talon Logistics.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. So let me tell you a little bit about Talon because I think it's important. So we were among the first trucking companies in LA Long Beach to deploy zero emission vehicles. Um, we are very focused on shippers that care about the environment, quite frankly. And I think for us, our perfect customer is a company who is one, has a sustainability message, but two, has actioned that message, right? Like I'm not looking for a company that said, well, we had our HR intern post signs on the copiers saying, did you really need to print this? The companies that are further advanced in their carbon offset program or their carbon reduction program is really my perfect customer. But there's only a few of them, right? We focus entirely on drayage, so import and export work. And if you take the list of, say, the top 200 importers or exporters, and you say, okay, which of these companies, so that's a list of 200, which of these companies have a real goal? You probably come out to 40 or 50 companies that have taken the step. So our perfect customer, our ICP, is actually quite a small list where we've been really fortunate to work with CarrierSource is identifying not only those companies in their moment of buying, but also companies that are quite literally raising their hand saying, I have imports, I need support, or I have exports, I need support. And that's where CarrierSource has been a home run for us.
Yeah, it's knowing that intent and being able to put your thumb on it, really. And
Yep.
how do you guys evaluate that, or how does the intent data come through to you now?
Yeah, so it's kind of simple. Logging into the platform, we'll log into CarrierSource or other tools and identify, okay, which carriers have clicked on our profile, who's looked at us, who's checked us out, who's set out a bid. I mean, last week we saw a bid come through. It closed within 6 hours. It was amazing. I mean, it was just literally a shipper put up their hand and said, "I have stuff to move. Can you help?" We said, "Sure. Here's the price," and he got back to us a few hours later and said, "Good to go," which is amazing. So there's that instead of saying, "Hey, I want to cast a wide net," and I think Kara Brown Smith wrote the book called The Revenue Engine, and in the book she talks
Mhm.
about the fact that at any given time there are 20,000 companies with more than $1 billion in revenue, but of those 20,000, maybe 50 in a given moment are looking for an actual freight partner. So it's a small universe at any given moment. So when you have the option to log in and see, hey, these 50 companies are looking, and then take that information because and you know it because either they clicked on your profile, they clicked on one of your ads, maybe they searched for you, maybe they quite frankly sent you an
Searching
RFP.
for
Yeah, I
searching
mean,
for drayage carriers in the LA area, right? They're
yeah.
actively
So
out there searching for it.
yep. And I think there's that component of it, and then there's also the component of where the person's located, right? Like it'll tell carrier source will tell us, hey, somebody from Walmart based in Norfolk, and this is a made up example, it's not necessarily Walmart or Norfolk, but somebody in Walmart in Norfolk was on your profile. Well, I can pretty easily find out who's leading drayage in Norfolk, and that's a
Mhm.
market we serve. So Talon does operate in 10 markets across the U.S. We've got assets or trucks in 6 markets. We've got yards and trucks in 3 more. So realistically, if you got a drayage need, we can help you. So we're able to really log in and hone in on, okay, which companies are quite literally raising their hand saying, I need help, And then it's just a matter of going through those companies, pull the list down. And I think this is something that, is just tremendous. It might be a list of 200 companies that engaged with us in some way, shape, or form. But let's look at those. Let's quickly go into who that list is. Let's identify, okay, look, 12 of them are universities. Generally speaking, Kevin, it's not the university who's got a ton of drayage, but that means that the sustainability content I'm writing or the sustainability content we're publishing is actually attracting tomorrow's generation of supply chain leader. That's not a bad thing. And more importantly, it means we're hitting the mark, right? Like we're being found under the messaging that we think is important. So whether it's sustainability, whether it's account management, operations, whether it's how to improve your drayage, how to select a carrier, how to select a broker, whatever it is, the universities can be a great guide because if you're publishing thought leadership, those kids are downloading it, right? Like so, and I love the idea that somewhere out there, a kid's turning in a term paper that I helped
Exactly.
contribute to. But more importantly, it's these companies that maybe have 50, 100, 200, 500 containers a month coming in, raising their hand saying, what am I going to do with these? It's amazing. It's so quick in terms of how rapidly we're able to turn around information.
Ah, and you do have an ROI, right? You have over the
Yeah.
last 9 months using intent data. Let's talk a little bit about the results.
Yeah, our results have been phenomenal. I mean, like I said, we had the one guy send an RFP and 6 hours later we closed the deal. We can pretty easily attribute well over $1 million in revenue, direct revenue through the leads and through the information that we've pulled from CarrierSource, identifying, okay, this company is looking. And it's not okay, this company is looking, let's put them in a generic campaign and hope to God they respond to it. From there, we're able to say, okay, based on the information we've got, based on their intent, where is this person located? Okay, they're located in LA or LA Long Beach. They're probably going there. So let's find out how many containers do they have there, right? And instead of saying, hey, I want all your freight, I want your 1,000 cans a month, we might send them a marketing email and says, look, we'd love a pilot program. And I mentioned the sustainability push that Talon's really focused on. I might say, I'd love to move 25 of your cans. I'm going to do them all with zero emission vehicles. I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to show you where cost parity is possible. And in fact, cost, improvement, where basically you can save money on on top line and bottom line revenue, working with a trucking company that's doing zero emission. And that's going to be through things like, how are you handling your carbon offset or inset program? What are you doing with wear credits? We can actually build a program for a shipper using zero emission trucks that actually does not cost anything extra, and in some cases creates actual revenue for the company.
And it's much easier using intent data going through this, finding people who are actively searching for your solutions than trying to go out and blindly cold call your way into it.
Look, you can go to seamless.ai or any of the lead creation tools out there. Zoom Info, if you're looking to spend a ton of money, is an option for you. And you could easily search for anybody with the title supply chain logistics, procurement, transportation, drayage, import, export. Pull that together as a list, blindly email a bunch of people and say, we got trucks. That never works. I think the numbers are that marketers tend to rely on are, we got a 2% click-through rate and we hoped for a 1% engagement rate. With intent data, when somebody's out there raising their hand, those numbers should be 50%, 60%. You should have a very high open rate. You should have a very high close rate when it comes down to it, because the shipper is literally saying, I need support. And when you know that, sending the customized message, putting them in the right space to say, I know how many containers you got moving. You're looking for support. I can help you save costs here, here, here. I can do sustainability. If you're a sustainability player, I can help you with that here, here, here. I can help you operationally. I mean, I'm blessed at Talon. I look at our operations numbers and they're flawless. Our QBRs typically go, okay, you guys are well within SLA on everything. You were 99% on time. We didn't dispute a single bill. We didn't see any demurrage charges. Oh, and thanks for helping us fix 3 chassis that were ours to deal with, and you guys just took the bull by the horns and took care of that problem, right? So it's easy to be in a sales or marketing role with a company like Talon, because all of the hard stuff, I'm lucky enough that I work with an amazing team that's able to handle the hard stuff. So when it's just, look, I know you're looking for trucks. I know I can match anybody. I can show you a couple differentiators. It's a fantastic victory to say, I know what you're after. I know I can support you. Let's talk about how we work together.
And you have the time to focus in on your messaging, on your marketing, really being targeted because you're not chasing after companies that don't need your service, who aren't looking right now, who
Exactly.
aren't in the
Exactly.
market to buy.
You've got it exactly right, Kevin. I mean, we could all go to Journal of Commerce and download the top 200 importer
Mhm.
exporter list and say, I'm going after these folks. And I mean, based on what you see on LinkedIn, people say, okay, brokers, leave me alone. I
Yeah.
suspect there's a lot of brokers doing that, or there's a lot of trucking companies doing that, versus pinging the right message at the right time. And I think that's the holy grail of marketing. Do you have the right person? I think the list is still always 60 to 70% of success. Are you talking to
Mhm.
the right person? And the intent side of this really helps to identify, are you talking to the right person? Are you talking to them at the right time? Sometimes the offer, sometimes the creative, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. Like I work with a tremendous set of designers. I don't want to hurt their feelings, but at the end of the day, if my message is clear and simple to understand, and I'm getting it to the right person or the right company at the right time, even if it just gets forwarded along, I'm probably going to get that carrier onboarding packet. I'm probably going to get the phone call that says, "Okay, tell me a little bit more," or at least send me a deck. Let's talk about how we might work together. Or, oh, I've got my favorite is, I've got this problem lane. I'm searching out there because, oh my God, I can't find a single trucking company willing to get me to Paris, California from the port on time. By the way, there's like millions upon millions of square feet of warehousing space in Paris, California. It's
Mhm.
a very common lane. But because of the way the lane works, sometimes there's construction, sometimes there's problems. You know, when you hear that, even if it's just like, what's your problem lane? I have a hunch you're searching for drayage providers. What's keeping you up at night? That's an amazing message to send,
Mhm.
because they're like, yeah, I am searching, and this stupid lane is making me miserable. Like that's an easy problem to solve. Now you're leading with that, as opposed to the guy waving his arm saying, I have more trucks on the road than so and so down the street. Or in the case of brokerage, I mean, like, you look at the bigger brokers, especially in drayage, there's been an assault to say, okay, I've got 5,000 drayage trucks, I've got 10,000
Yeah.
drayage trucks, I've got 30,000 trucks that can do drayage. I mean, at one point, one of the marketplaces said something crazy like, I've got 250,000 trucks available to do drayage. I don't think there are that many trucks enrolled in ports. So I don't know how
Yeah,
that
yeah.
number comes about. It's not an arms race. It's a highly targeted, highly surgical approach at the moment where your shipper has pain. It's just a home run.
All the surgical approach, and I always say it's always better to be in the right place at the wrong or the right time, right? The right
Yep,
place at the right time, and
exactly.
intent data puts you at the right place at the right time,
Absolutely, 100%.
and that is 80% of everything. And then you have content is king. You have a great message tailored for that, and you're in.
Yep. And to your point of the great message, right? Like, it's not, we downloaded everybody with supply chain logistics procurement, transportation import in their title, and mass carpet bomb them with an
Yeah.
email that's all the same, which is the equivalent of saying, I know I'm at the right time, but you're still the guy waving saying, I've got trucks. Instead, we're tailoring those messages to what the job title is, right? Like, your procurement person has a
Hmm.
different job than your transportation leader. Now, at the end of the day, they're pulling in the same direction, but your transportation leader is like, look, is this going to be on time? Your procurement person is like, how much money am I saving? Those are two different equations that are the part of the same sale. I think the number is like, a B2B sale or an enterprise sale has something between 7 and 25 decision makers who influence it.
I believe so.
So,
Yep.
so taking the intent data from CarrierSource and saying, okay, I know this company needs drayage support. I'm going to be able to help them. That's wonderful. But if you ping each individual and base it on what their titles are and what presumably helps them get promoted, right? Like, that's the most
Yep.
powerful question in the world to
It
somebody.
is.
Kevin, how do I get you a promotion? Literally every person is like, oh, here are my pain points. Let me help you out. That's a wildly different discussion. So I think if the marketing message is, we know you're interested and we're going to help you in your role. And here's kind of my Chinese food menu of services and offerings and stats to back up why each one of these components is going to help you. It becomes a really, really easy sale. And that's why we could attribute well over $1 million in revenue to the relationship with CarrierSource, to the intent data that you provided for us.
And that's the first of first 1 million of many million
Oh, we're
over the
working on
coming
it.
months
Absolutely.
and years, certainly.
Absolutely.
Well, Mike, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for talking about shipper intent data with me today and CarrierSource. How does our audience reach out and learn more about Talon Logistics and yourself?
Yeah, so we're at talonlogisticsinc.com, or if you're a Twitter or X user, I'm just at Mike Bush.
Perfect. Thank you again so much.
Thanks, Ed.